ఎలా వ్యాపిస్తుంది? తుమ్మినప్పుడు, దగ్గినప్పుడు తుంపర్ల ద్వారా అని ఎవరైనా చెప్తారు. నోరు, ముక్కు ద్వారా విడుదలయ్యే స్రావాల వల్ల ఒకరి నుంచి మరొకరికి కరోనా సోకుతుందని తెలుసు. అయితే తాజాగా సీసీఎంబీ జరిపిన పరిశోధనలో సరికొత్త విషయాలు బయటపడ్డాయి. మలమూత్ర విసర్జితాల్లో కూడా వైరస్ ఆనవాళ్లను గుర్తించారు. మరి ఇదే విషయంపైన స్పందించడానికి మనతో పాటు ఉన్నారు సీసీఎంబీ డైరెక్టర్ రాకేష్ మిశ్రా గారు. సో రాకేష్ మిశ్రా గారు, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు ఉన్నటువంటి పాండమిక్ సిచ్యువేషన్ హోల్ వరల్డ్ అంతా కూడా చాలా పాండమిక్గా ఉంది. సో ఈ టైంలో కరోనా ఇండియాలో ఎస్పెషల్లీ కరోనా కమ్యూనిటీ స్ప్రెడ్ మొదలైందని అనుకోవచ్చా?
So if I understood, you want to know if there is community spread of corona in India, right? So government does not describe it in as many words, but the number of cases that every city is recording, there is no other way to explain. These people are not traveling, so that means there is a spread from individual to individual, whether you call it community spread or not. But even serological testing in many cities have shown that it can be 20%, 30%, or in Pune recently shown 50% seropositivity, which means very large number of people have come in contact. This can only be explained when there is a community spread. We can technically call it different, but more or less it's the same kind of thing.
అండ్ వాట్స్ యువర్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ సార్? అంటే కరోనా ప్రభావం ఎప్పటి వరకు తగ్గేటువంటి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది? వాట్స్ యువర్ అబ్జర్వేషన్?
You have to ask me in English, otherwise I didn't understand exactly.
Okay sir, when it will come to normal position?
That is anybody's guess. So normalcy will come only if we do something about it, very concrete, which means testing in large scale, isolating people, and that is the system's responsibility, and people should express more, show more discipline of mask and social distancing and personal hygiene. If we don't do anything, there is no reason that we will see a peak or plateau very soon. It may take several months. But if we do well, there are indications that September end, maybe October, maybe November, it may start to come down. But for some time to come now, we are going to see increase in number of cases in most of the country.
And when we can expect the vaccine, sir?
No, vaccine we shouldn't even have in our plans, in my opinion, because all vaccine discussions are about the candidates of the vaccine, and they need to go through what is called a phase 3 trial, which is the most critical trial for a vaccine, and 85% of the vaccine candidates fail in that. And please remember that there is no good vaccine against any coronavirus till now. So this will be the first one good vaccine if we get. There are viruses like HIV, there is no vaccine for several decades. And the fastest vaccine that anybody has produced is a minimum 4 years of time it has taken. So if something happens within a year, we should be very lucky. But to understand that vaccine is robust and it protects most of the people will take many more months to come. So this pandemic we have to fight without vaccine. Vaccine is maybe next year sometime if we are lucky. That is not, there is no guarantee that there will be vaccine.
And if vaccine comes, is it easily available with public, sir?
So again, that will depend upon which vaccine it is. If it is made by a foreign company, and if it is RNA based vaccine, it will be very expensive. It will require -80 cold chain. So it depends upon what kind of vaccine it is. India has a strength because we are the major producer of vaccine in the world. But whether our population will get first, when they will get, how many doses, if 3 doses of vaccine is required, multiply that with the number of hundreds of millions of people that we need to immunize, is a huge task. Even after the vaccine is available, it will take more than a year to vaccinate all the people. So it's tough thing. We shouldn't depend on the vaccine. That comes, that's good, but we have to fight it by other means.
And what do you say about new mutations regarding corona?
This we have been following by genomic sequencing of corona for now for several months, and earlier we had identified a new clade which was unique to South India and specifically Southeast Asia, and we had predicted at that time that that clade probably has a weaker system, and it turns out to be correct, because now we don't see that clade A3I that is disappearing, and most of the India, like rest of the world, has one single clade which is A2A, which means the virus is not mutating very fast. There are no new or dangerous or easier viruses that are appearing. Most of the variants that we see, they are of inconsequence as far as our understanding is concerned. So it's a good thing that we have a virus which is stable, which is not mutating very fast, is mutating as one would expect. So the any vaccine or drug that will be developed anywhere probably will be applicable to the rest of the people, and we don't have that additional problem. But
So
whether
please,
drug and vaccine is a separate issue.
okay,
Go
so
ahead.
please
Yeah.
explain about your research regarding corona traces in sewage water.
So we what we did was to understand how many people are infected in the city. How we do that? So one place where you can find everything that is coming out from the human body ends up in the sewage system. Whether you take bath, whether you go to toilet, flush, washing mouth, all those things, everything ends up there. So if one can identify the RNA of the virus there and quantitate, then one can have this. Many countries have tried this, and there are good indications that it can be done. So that's why we took up this project as a joint activity with IICT, our sister laboratory, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, because they have expertise of accessing sewage treatment plants, and they have been doing projects related to that. So we combined their expertise with our molecular biology expertise, and worked hard and figured out how to identify virus in the sewage system. So once we got this technology in hand, then we surveyed lots of STPs in the city. We covered almost 80% of the sewage collection of the city, and estimated the number of virus that in this time window is prevailing, because lots of virus is shedded through fecal samples, which can be traced in the sewage tanks. So it's a very good way of surveying as a surveillance means for the virus in the city, not only for COVID, but for anything else that can be measured in the system, because you get a quantitative good view of the viral load. And our numbers that we get are they make sense compared to what has been already reported by the government, and comparing with the system, the observation that people have made in other cities.
And is this first experiment in this kind, sir?
Yeah, so we haven't heard any report where a surveillance level detection of the virus has been done in the country. Outside, it has been done in several European countries. But there is one report from Ahmedabad that from the sewage virus can be identified. That was published, I think, a month back. But estimating the number of people infected by quantifying the viral load in the sewage system, we have been able to first time. But this technology is not very complicated, so, and it's very cheap, and in the whole city estimate you can do really in a few tens of thousands of rupees. So it's very economic way of saying the load of the virus in the area that you are interested in.
And we hear that Singapore did the same experiment. What do you say?
Say it again. Sorry.
Actually, we hear that the Singapore already did this kind of experiment.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. In several European countries, people are using, and Singapore also, people are using sewage system to monitor the parasite load. It can be done. So that is why we have, see, the way we calculate how many people are infected in the city based on those findings, that people have already estimated how much virus individual sets per day when the person is infected, and we use that crucial input from independent studies and calculate from our side what is the viral load in the city. So it should be done. It should be done in all major cities, so that we can monitor very carefully and strategize how to handle the problem.
And is the sewage virus transmit to the public?
No, so we have very clearly written. So I will tell you a few things. One is, although people shed virus in the fecal route, that is not at all infectious. This has been studied and established. So we can detect the virus, but that is not an infectious sample. So those who are working in sewage system are the people around nalas and those things. This is not at all infectious. Infectious is only to person through breathing and sneezing and coughing. So if you wear mask, if you maintain social distancing and you do a hand wash hygiene, you are safe. This is not at all something to be panicked that we have such a large number and so on. And we have also tested the outlet of the STPs and we find no virus traces or RNA traces there. So that means treatment of these things in our STPs is done well, that there is no viral going out, RNA going out of the tank. Whatever is treatment is done, that takes care of these RNAs during the treatment process. So that's another good thing to that we noticed.
And how many days coronavirus remains in a human body?
Many people have done studies, and it is now established that 30-35 days, the people who once get infected keep shedding the virus. Although infectivity is only for 12 to 14 days, that's why the quarantine period is estimated 14 days, 17 days. So that's why when we did this study that we are there 6 lakh positives, that means 6 lakh includes the people from day 1 to day 35. So it is a 35-day window that we are scoring, which means all those who see positive, maybe one third or one fourth are active infections, and the rest are old infections where people have become negative otherwise, and they are shedding in the virus in their fecal samples. So people can release virus up to a month or 35 days.
And what actions are taking CCMB for increased corona testing capacity?
So CCMB is doing multiple things. One is we have already submitted our new procedure for testing, what we call a dry swab method of testing. That is with the ICMR, and it has been waiting. We have been waiting for the ICMR approval for a very long time, and we are putting pressure that it should be recognized soon. It's more than 2 months that they are still not able to take decision. The good thing of that method is that you don't need a VTM or viral transfer medium, which is a liquid in which the swabs are collected and transported to the test centers. Since you don't need VTM, there is more safety, there's no leakage, and of course you save the cost of the VTM, which is often imported. Then our method does not require, because we don't need VTM, you don't need to isolate RNA. That is one major step, which is a rate limiting step. And if you don't have to do and directly you go to RT-PCR, then you can do it faster and cheaper. So in summary, then this method is almost less than half the cost, is safer, it takes less than half the time, and it can be done faster. And put together, if a lab is doing 200 tests a day, the same lab with same number of people and same machines can do 800, 600 tests per day. So that you can triple the capacity with half the cost. So that we think that it will be a game changer, and will solve most of the problem that we are facing in the increase the testing capacity. We are resolving to rapid antigen tests which are not accurate. They are good. They in the absence of nothing, in absence of anything better, that is good. But if we can do more RNA based testing, that will be more accurate way, and we think that our dry sub method will help in that.
And what is the differences between foreign countries and India among the virus?
There is actually no big difference. You see the similar same clade going around, and it has not changed much. There are India specific variants, but they don't have any functional consequence, no clinical consequence as far as we understand. They are useful in tracking how they are spreading, and which where there is a better containment, where is the less efficient containment. There are of that kind of academic interest, and how the virus is mutating, but they doesn't have any really something of public interest, that is no clinical or other feature in that. So you can say whole world has one major kind, and that the same virus which is asymptomatic and whatever anywhere.
And what's your upcoming projects, Ms. Raji?
We have many things in our pipeline. One thing is that we are very actively testing new drugs, new devices, because we cultured the virus in the lab. So we are able to figure out if there is something good that can be used against the virus. So that is something very active. We are working with companies to develop vaccines, and along with that, we are also working to develop antibody as a therapeutic means. So, which means we grow a lot of virus, inactivate it, and inject in the horses with our company partner, the BIMS Biologicals, and that antibody, when produced, will be used as a drug. And I think in a week or two, we will start the human trial using those antibodies, and that will kind of replace, that will be a better replacement of plasma therapy once it comes into the place. And we are very hopeful that that will help.
And is there any chance to attack corona second time in a human body?
So far, there is no credible evidence that there will be reinfection. There have been strange cases once or a while, but I will take with a pinch of salt that there may have been some error in either first round of detection or second round or something, or there may be very unusual. See, if you get infected and you get cured without your immune response, then you may get reinfected. Since we don't have any drugs, so most of the people who are recovering, they are recovering through their immune response, their bodies fighting back. But if by accident somehow thing happen that virus, one person was positive and become negative without antibody response, then of course you are as good as anyone and get infected again. But those chances so far what we know are very, very rare, and I don't think we need to be worried about that possibility as yet.
And CV study by IICT says 6.6 lakhs people may be infected in Hyderabad. Is this correct, sir?
So that is our study I was referring to. This IICT and CCMB has teamed together to do this study. IICT has expertise of collecting understanding of the sewage system and collecting the samples and initial, and then we bring that to the lab and isolate virus and estimate the viral load. So this is the same study that CCMB has done and what you were talking about. And of course, the 6 lakh is the number based on international observation of how a person, how much virus a person sheds, and how much we are collecting, what is the volume, and so on. So that is a reasonable number, and I would say that's actually a conservative number. Real number may be even higher. And this is, we should not be surprised or startled. This is what is expected also, based on even the current government estimates. If you interpret in some ways, this is what you will expect, that kind of number.
And in future, how many people affected by corona? And some experts are saying ante almost half of the people will affected by corona. Is it right?
If we don't, eventually that's what will happen. See, in absence of vaccine, that all will happen. As I said, vaccine is rare, far from any reality. So people, you will get 50% or 60%, but what is required is that we reach that number slowly. We don't reach that number fast. If we reach that number fast, then there will be symptomatic people, and there will be rush in the hospitals, and people will die who can otherwise be saved. So the infectivity level will reach 50%, but effort should be that it reaches in several months and not very quickly, so that we save lives and there is not much stress. Luckily, the virus is less asymptomatic, and most people don't get into serious problem. But if we don't control, then that number will become a big problem.
And some experts are saying that cases will decrease in September. Can we expect that, sir?
No, there is no. See, these are based on some data collected from the cities, based on how many they test, how many they find. These are all not very final data. Like we all know how much we are testing and what is the number we are getting. It is not possible to test everybody, so we never get good data, complete data, and we cannot go beyond a point. So there are limitations of those things. So these are models which predict things based on certain input and which can be very dynamic. It is very difficult to say. I will be happily surprised that if it happens that in September it starts to come down, but it can happen if people become very disciplined, it will happen. There is only one way because there is no vaccine. So only way it will happen is that people don't get exposed to this by protecting themselves, and when they are infected they should not expose to others by wearing the mask and so on. So it can happen, but it will require a lot of effort from the people and not only from the government.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time.
Right, thank you. Thank you.